Three, two, one. Hello, Hugo.
I'm alright.
You seem very comfortable there, just lying on your couch.
Yeah.
I mean,
Couch,
bed.
my bed.
Yeah.
Everyone wants this.
Oh, dude, I love this chair. Like, what is it? It like goes back, but it
locks
eases
in.
back. Yeah,
It locks in as well, so you don't fall off.
that's great.
It's a great chair.
Oh, I've got to ask though. What is this?
This is Gatsby. Wax, hair wax.
Hair wax.
Yeah.
I've never seen you use it. Have you used it when I've been around?
My hair's too long to use it now. Like,
Yeah.
if I put it in, it's useless.
Be like one of those fighting characters with like the hair that's just like straight up.
No, that's in the
stuck
shower.
like concrete.
I can only do that in the shower. Come out the shower and stuff falls down.
Oh, dude. There's been a lot that's going on in gaming in like the past month or two.
Since the last time we did one of these.
Oh, it's been ages.
Yeah.
I don't even think I edited like I think we did one other gaming news one, and I didn't even bother editing it. I was just like, fuck it, it's gone. But yeah, well, let's give up on like the weekly news one.
Mm-hmm.
We might just do like stories, so we might just do like a Star Wars one,
Mm-hmm.
and then if there's like a major story, just talk about that, because the Star Wars one's got a shit ton of stuff to go through. I can't believe that we might be seeing the end of the age of loot box. Do you remember when Overwatch came out and we started playing and I looked at you and I was like, dude, this is gambling?
Yep, I remember that.
I was like, finally, a year and a bit later. I think Overwatch came out last year, didn't it?
No.
Yeah, last year, 2016.
Oh, but the beta? Including beta or like official release?
Official release.
Probably last year then.
Yeah. Now it's like a year and a half later. It's crazy. Have you seen the amount of backtracking EA's done?
No.
Oh, so it was like...
Oh, apparently, like, all this other shit got dug up from EA. Apparently, Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, the creator.
Yeah, he got fired because he couldn't abide to their pay-to-win rules. And then, shortly after he got fired, they put pay-to-win in the game.
Dude, I can't... It's insane. Here's the problem, right? Like, they're trying to bring the free-to-pay model to paid games.
Yeah.
But, like, the free-to-play model...
Exists because they can have pay-to-play.
Well, no, but also, like, if you think of it this way, the way the free-to-play model it works, even if it's, like, pay-to-win, the reason why whales spend money is because, like, they want to, like, own other people, right?
Yeah.
But then, I think I read somewhere that, like, this one game developer who does it said that you only need, like, a 2% conversion rate. For people. Like, most people will never spend a dime, but you need, like, 2% conversion rate. And basically, you need to have the player base of, like, regular people that aren't going to spend money so that the whales can, like, stomp on them.
Oh, yeah.
But then, if you're just getting stomped on by whales, like, are you just going to leave the game because it's unfair? And so, all these, like, free-to-play games just start imploding on each other. And that's why, like, League, Dota, Overwatch, where it's just, like, cosmetic stuff, is the only one where it sticks around. But did you hear, so, like, first, you know, obviously the microtransactions were in the game, and then they cut it by like 75%, which is so funny because you must have thought like they saw the backlash and they were just like panicking and they're like, 75%? Like, how do you change your game economy just on the fly? Like, it does not sound like a calculated move. It sounds like they were just panicking at the buttons and then just like turning down a slider. 75%.
Everyone picked up on the notice they gave out. They're like, we're gonna take down microtransactions for now.
Yeah. Oh man,
that was a terrible move.
You know how they got like the most downvoted post in Reddit history?
Yeah.
That wasn't even enough to get them to remove it. Apparently, like Disney's CEO,
holy shit,
Bob Iger was like he got another executive to call Andrew Wilson, the head of EA, and then after that call, did EA take down the stuff?
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of memes of like Mickey Mouse, with Darth Vader's like, I'm your father now.
Yeah, because I think it's like, they must be pissed.
Yeah. Because stock went down so much.
No, I'm talking about Disney, right?
No, yeah. Wait, does Disney own EA or?
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, okay. But.
Because like they got a movie coming out like just around the corner. They don't want all this bad publicity about Star Wars, right? Yeah. And like now, Star Wars is like, did you see the video done by like the Hawaiian senator?
No.
They're like, he comes out straight out basically saying that like Star Wars is like this Star Wars Battlefront is like a casino for kids,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's pretty hardline and pretty much what everyone's been thinking for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I can't imagine Disney will be happy with like basically Star Wars being put next to like child gambling. Yeah. I just love it. It's so good. I think so many people are waiting for EA to burn for so long.
EA's stock has been going down
Yeah.
because of all this backlash.
Did you even hear so Need for Speed Payback, right? It's a game that had like a similar model as EA, as Battlefront, because EA's been kind of like putting all their games into this.
Mm-hmm.
And they even like restructured that now. So they're just like changing everything.
Oh man.
But you know how big here's the thing, right? So like in the UK, there's been like petitions for it. The Belgian government's looking into it. Here in Australia, like the Victorian commissioners said it's gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the US, the senators are now looking into investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
If it changes in even like one of these territories, it's probably going to like... Imagine how that's going to change the gaming landscape.
Yeah.
Like anything with loot boxes is automatically an adults-only game.
Mm.
Which is like... You're going to be having free-to-play mobile games aimed at kids. Like like My Little Pony, something. Just like over there on adult-only games.
Mm.
Dude, I'm telling you,
good thing we're over 18.
This might be like the biggest shift in gaming in like ages.
Mm.
Seriously.
I mean, at what other point in time has like any government got themselves involved in gaming?
I think so. You know, like the ESRB, which is like
Yeah.
a rating thing. That's apparently like an industry-made thing. Once government like threatened
Oh.
to regulate it, so then the kind of like industry came together and made their own regulation board.
Mm.
And so that might happen with this. Like the industry might have to self-regulate itself if government threatens to come in, because it's going to be hilarious if government comes in. Because you know they're like 20 years behind where it really is. And they're going to make like so many rules. There's going to be so many plot holes. Not plot holes. What is it? Loopholes. But anyway, back to what this one was really about. Certify. Now, I finished this quite a while ago, and you're playing through this now. So where are you at the moment?
7 months, 4 days in, so about halfway through. So to my knowledge, when I double checked, I've done 3 palaces.
Yeah.
And there are 6 palaces, and then the depths of the mementos.
Yeah, so about basically 4.
Yeah. Halfway through the game.
Yeah, and we got to first talk about, before we like delve in, we're not going to go past where you're at, unless of course you already know the entire plot.
I mean, you do the palace. Well, I can tell that this... it's about freedom and justice.
Yeah.
So I can probably like extrapolate something from that.
No, we'll only just go to where you're at now.
All right.
Hello, well, that seems to be carrying.
Yep.
Is she going to keep yelling at the door?
Maybe. Who knows? We'll find out.
But let's first start talking about the styles of play, because you and I play games differently.
Carrie. Hey. I'll tell him the aircon as well.
Alright. Ooh. Come here, Karen. Up on the bed. Up.
She comes in to come out. She just wants like dominance over my room. She's like, I can let me come in when I want. Let me leave when I want.
But we've been playing this very differently. So the way I've been playing, I'm basically playing it as like they designed it.
Yeah.
So I'm playing this on harder difficulty and just going through the game. I do minimal grinding. I always make sure that like I'm never too over leveled for an area.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm always way over leveled for my area.
Yeah, but you're kind of going the completionist route, right?
Part of it's completionist. Most of it's like, oh yeah, I guess completionist. Simply because I need that. I need all these stats for New Game Plus, so I can really just grind out everything else.
What? I think you can get the way you're going, the way you seem to be going. You're going to get everything before New Game Plus, or is there stuff you can only get in New Game Plus?
It's just a lot easier in New Game Plus, like
because everything goes back up the levels and
everything
stats.
goes back up.
Dude, I'll be honest, like I cannot fathom See, here's the thing. I get the completionist mindset, but it's like when I play games, I automatically look at, what's the experience the developer's trying to give, right?
Fair enough.
And so in like a story-rich one, what I automatically do is I try and get the gameplay to line up with what the character's experiencing. So it's like, I think it's okay definitely to play some games on lower difficulties, like Call of Duty and Uncharted. Like Uncharted, you're this like wisecracking guy that's like mowing down hundreds of things. So it's like there's not really much intensity to the gunfights or anything like that. So it's more enjoyable, like narratively and gameplay wise. It syncs up better if you're just like going through levels, just like mindlessly mowing down guys. Same in Call of Duty, it's kind of like a power fantasy.
Yep.
Like, by the way, I finished playing World War II, the campaign. It's so shit.
Good thing I haven't played it at all. I haven't touched it at all.
I mean, here's the thing. You might enjoy it because you haven't played a World War II campaign yet, have you?
I haven't played one since like the number 4, the one with the ghillie suit.
But those are all like modern ones.
Yeah, they were a long time ago.
This one, they've got the whole Normandy landing on the beach. There is one really good level though. Just this is a set tangent to Persona. Is that there's this one where you're infiltrating like Nazi command, and you're playing as a spy, and you got to like memorize your documents, and you get like inspections, and you have like basically Mass Effect style conversation wheel.
Oh.
And so you'll be questioned like you're sent here under the orders of like Herr Heinrich, and you got to be like no Herr Spiegel and things like that.
Okay.
And I'm like, that was one of the coolest missions I've seen in a Call of Duty in a while. But then it just like ends. I thought, so it starts off in Normandy, and I thought, it's going to go all the way to Berlin, right? It just ends at the Rhine, which is like the forest capturing a bridge into Germany. That's the pinnacle of the shooting. And I'm just like, all right. Because did you ever play World at War, Call of Duty 5?
Yeah.
That's got like, you play as the Soviets all the way from like Russia into Berlin, and then you play as the Americans all the way from like the Pacific into like Japan.
It's because they want to make a World War II Part 2.
2 Part 2. I don't think so. The guy ends up going home after this one, and he's talking about. It's so funny because the entire time he's talking about like his girl. He's got a girl back home, and he's waiting to look. I'm like, all right, let's wait to see this girl. See the girl at the end of the game. I'm like, she ain't worth it, man. She's pretty ugly. But anyway, yeah, back on to this. It's like, I feel like...
The game difficulty is part of the game design.
Yeah, it's... Well, I mean, here's the thing.
And it affects your gameplay. No,
because it's like, in I don't mind it in like... So this is a narrative-based game, right? And one of the things that always kills narrative-based games, or enhances it, is when you have like narrative dissonance. When what you're doing physically, so it would be like, oh my god, like the characters will be pretending like it's the most intense thing ever, and then you're just like just tapping your button. You know that one? So like when Final Fantasy 13 came out, you could basically beat the game by pressing one button in fights.
Yeah.
And pretty much. There was this like meme, that like pecking bird that automatically goes. So people would be like, you'll see the characters like being so melodramatic, and then you'll see the gameplay, and someone will just have their pecking bird on the controller, pressing like the X button to get through the entire combat sequence. And it's like, I feel like if you don't have that kind of connection when you're playing a narrative game, then you're severely like missing out on the story.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like being the completionist route is fine, but I feel like you only get your first time once. So do it properly once, and then like in your New Game Plus, you'll have enough time to just like smash through the game.
Fair enough.
And do the completionist route still. And there's nothing wrong with being like a completionist, but there are even like games designed around completionists. And it's like, when you got... Because personally, the reason why I say... Like usually I don't really give a shit how people play, but I personally think Persona 5 is the best JRPG ever made.
I can totally understand how you feel, because playing Final Fantasy X, because I was still a kid and I had no like incentive to be a completionist. Yeah. So I played that how it should have been played, and I probably died so many times with different bosses that it's like when you finally defeat the boss, it's like, it's relief and achievement and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But here's the thing: I took this to the next level. So I played this on hard, right?
Yeah.
And you know how you have the deadlines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you really have to make sure you've done the palace 2 days before the deadline. What I would do is I would as soon as possible get to the safe room, like how you get through the first stage. So I'd get to that like final safe room, and then I'd wait till that 2 day mark, right? So that because I did the first one with Kamoshida, did that straight up, just like did it, and then I was kind of like, there's no tension in watching the deadline come. But also, I don't know if you knew this, but if you fail to meet a deadline, it'll obviously reset you back before to give you another shot, but it means you can't get the good ending.
All right.
So it means you automatically get the bad ending, right?
Okay.
So what I would do is I would then like wait until that final moment, basically where it was like an all or nothing thing. So if I failed that one, then I would get the bad ending. And it just like the tension like fucking went through the roof because I wasn't over leveled. Like I was just perfectly fine. So it was always like every battle would keep coming out with like minuscule amounts of health. And it was just like, it was some of the most intense stuff I was having. And it even made the, obligatory, oh my God, I can't believe we survived that, conversation afterwards, like a bit more bearable. But it was just like, it was so good. And another thing it does is, you know how you have the confidant links? And, you'll have ones where it's like baton passes level 2, you were telling me.
Yep.
And then later on, you'll have like take a hit for the person.
Or follow up.
Follow up hits. Or then like level 10 is like they'll take a death blow for you. Or something like that. And
or Ryuji has insta-kill.
Yeah, things like that. And so basically like that became, I don't know how many times I got saved by like my level 10 things, and then it made me love them even more, even if I like hated them, because I didn't really like Ryuji's character, to be honest. But it made me absolutely adore. Like I ended up loving him because the amount of times he like saved me when it would have been game over, and I would be like near the end of the game, and it's like if I failed this, I'd get the bad ending. Oh, it was just like, it was so good. And that's why I was like, you got to play this on hard, Hugo. You play it on hard. This game has like, it's got so many ways to endear you to the characters beyond just the story, which I think is like.
But okay, I think the problem you have is the fact that I'm min-maxing, because even if I just stopped min-maxing, then I would probably not have nearly as much supplies, not nearly as much money, not nearly as much levels, which would give me the same experience you're having.
Yeah.
But just the fact that I'm min-maxing gives me a whole set, like, basically puts me up like a few levels, puts me up, gives me all these advantages, which just make it a lot easier for me to get through the game.
Yeah.
And putting up the difficulty level doesn't affect my experience, simply because I still have the item. Like, my items don't change. My stats. Well,
but it still does because of the weakness thing. Like, I had a couple of times. Like I did die a few times in the game on like when you do the first like long run through to get to this final safe room.
But when you die, do you reload your game or just keep playing?
Wherever the game leads me, I just keep playing from.
Alright. My attitude to dying in a game is a bit different.
Why?
I don't know. I've probably after Final Fantasy X, growing up a bit, and then starting to play more JRPGs and just getting this mindset of like reloading, safe scumming.
Why?
I'm so big into the safe scumming.
Because it takes away any like consequence from the game.
Fair enough.
No, but
it's just a habit for me now, and so like that difficulty jump is really just a dampener of my experience of I died. Well, I'm gonna play through the fight again, kind of thing.
Because I remember like the first time, and basically every time I would go through a dungeon for the first time, I would die in it, and pretty much what would happen always is it would always come from. Like, there'll always be, like, one super quick enemy, or there are some enemies that always get first hits in, and they would, like, stun one person, and then it would just, like, snowball into this just impossible to maintain and contain scenario. That would make it incredibly difficult, but enough about, like, how we played the game. Let's actually talk about the game itself.
Alright.
So how have you been enjoying it so far? Because we're going to have two very different perspectives on this.
Alright, well, cutscene heavy.
Yeah.
I will say that like compared to Shin Megami Tensei, I guess in that series it's less very like slice of life, very high schooly.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they're a lot more intense and serious about their situation because in that series, like the world's coming to an end. Like this one's just, hey, let's change the hearts of some people. That series is like the world's ending. We need to do shit now. So they're a lot more realistic about their choices, and there's a lot less like unbearable moments. And the cutscenes generally, I think that I think I prefer those cutscenes that they have. They're a lot scripted a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels like adds nothing to the story.
Yeah, there's a lot of wasted dialogue here for sure, and that's probably the biggest knock I would have on the game.
And it's a shame that it has all that wasted dialogue because then you get a habit of skipping through scenes, and then you might eventually like skip crucial moments with characters, and it's like you might get to a decision point, and you're like, hold up, this character's like saying something incredibly intense or serious, and I have no idea what led to this point.
That happened to me a couple of times. I was just like, particularly with, go hang out with and say, just start skipping through, and then all of a sudden you get a choice. I'm just like, not exactly sure what I should do. But
do I say I love you? Do I say I hate you? I don't know. It's
we'll go into like the confidence, but let's talk a bit more broadly. I think this game is the most stylish game I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Like it just oozes I'm too cool for you.
I love how the loading screens are done. It feels so seamless. Like
it does feel so seamless. I don't understand why this game has loading screens though. Like it is not technically in any way demanding. Like there's low polygon models as well.
To be fair, like I don't notice there's no loading screens unless we're traveling from like one train line to another train line.
Yeah.
Thing. What I mean, it's like
they're all very quick and snappy.
Like post fight. Yeah. Just that. Yeah. The music, and then how it's just running. Like he starts running. Him and his crew start running, and then he comes to like a stop, and then where he stops is where you were. That's really cool. That's cool.
The best one though of that is the car. Where in Mementos, how he jumps into. They all jump into the car.
But it's like if you compare that to previous JRPGs, where they'll just have like a screen of like, here are your items, here's your XP, here is level ups, and then like you just have to press OK.
No,
it's completely different where you have to get taken out of the experience, where this keeps you
in the world,
simply because it's stylized exactly the same.
I agree, but like even just transitioning from like level to level, I feel like when you're on the train and you have the like cardboard cutouts of people. I mean, it's only a couple of seconds, so this is like a minor nitpick. But it just makes me wonder, because I was playing Call of Duty. It always makes me wonder when you play a game that's like so technically more impressive. Like there'll be games, I was just playing Call of Duty, 60 frames per second. Obviously the game looks pretty good from like a detail thing. You die, and you might die like way into a mission. You're straight back in. Like there's no loading, there's no nothing. Like the game just plops you straight back in, back at the start with like shit going crazy. And then you kind of look at Persona and it's like, whoa, you have to render very low density in like textured environments.
There's less polygons.
And you're running at like 30 frames per second, you're running at 60. And it's still, and most of the stuff you have to probably do is text, realistically. And it's just like, all right, I don't get it, but it never broke the experience, which I think is the key part. I think, what else was I going to speak? The music. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but in like the Persona games, they have like one theme for the battle music. So currently it's like after you beat the battle, or like when you're walking around the town, it has like one particular theme. So it's like, what's the one in it's like boom boom. Can you probably heard it recently? The one where you're just like running around the town.
Honestly, I've been playing like the past maybe like 5 hours, pretty like silent. Simply because like I play really late at night, my parents have to sleep, so
okay.
Like the battle music, I know, but going through towns.
Yeah. But what happens in all Persona games is that like the soundtrack switches halfway through the game. Like there's always like a turning point in every game, and then at this turning point, like there's different themes, different songs that play, And there wasn't any of that, so I got just kind of disappointed that the same stuff played the entire time. But anything else you want to bring up in terms of like super broad?
I think something that is a bit of a peeve for myself is that since it's a JRPG, I like hearing the Japanese voices. And just
I think there's a patch you can get for that.
Yeah. I didn't bother trying to find it, but listening to English voices come out of anime characters is just a bit of an irk for me.
I get you.
And then the battle music, the one with the like lady singing.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound. I don't know. It sounds strange to me.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
It was a bit strange, but then for some reason, like at a certain point in the game, you click that. You know how like the song's got like beats and like it goes up and down and it's like you'll left up like at a certain point in the game I started clicking the button as if it was like a rhythm music game and it for some reason like made it so much more enjoyable. And you'll have it like you'll have this first moment where the death of enemies like the hits and the button presses that you do line up with the music, and then after that you'll just want to like constantly do that. But yes, I do agree it is bizarre at the beginning. And it definitely could have used. I feel like there's far less like variety of music. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of the same songs over and over again, which is kind of a bummer.
I think it's because in other JRPGs, the environment you're in, because it changes all the time. But like, I'll just go with Final Fantasy. Yeah, there's so many different environments that you get placed in. Each of them have their own battle music.
Yeah.
And each of those battle music probably have like 2 or 3 variations. Yeah. This game has very few locations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could take the palaces as like the locations, right?
Yeah, but the battle music doesn't actually change.
Yeah, I think there's maybe different theme music for each palace.
Yeah, there's different themes for the palaces, but there isn't different battle music.
Yeah. I know there is one for the bosses. The bosses definitely have different ones.
Yeah. I think another thing that's a bit disappointing with this game is the mementos. How the bosses, I mean, this is just one part of it, but the bosses, like for the mementos, it's like, oh, it's a Jack Frost.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I thought this guy would have like an actual like
mini
character.
boss. Yeah.
But no, he's just a persona. Like, he's just a generic persona.
I think personally, I think the reason for mementos to exist, obviously, as you can probably figure out from the beginning, there's definitely a story reason for it to exist. But I figured that the only reason it exists, if it was a designer's point of view, they wouldn't have shown mementos until like the end. Like that's your final dungeon that you head to. But because they needed this kind of like grinding area that's expected from JRPGs, because the palaces disappear once you're done with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because they needed that grinding area, they just like made mementos this like massive, randomly generated set of corridors. I was always disappointed in mementos because I always thought, you know how you got like levels? So within like the levels you'll have like, I don't know, you know what I mean? There's like levels are broken up and might have like 5 or 6 sub-levels in them, and then you get moved to the next one which might have like 8, and then the next one. I was most disappointed with the fact that when I went from level to level, very little changed. Like they might have like a little filter, but I was expecting like different, I don't know, assets or different something to signify me going deeper. Instead, you're like, every time you go deeper, you'll be like, you'll have Morgana being like, oh god, the demons are more powerful on this level or something like that. Speaking of Morgana, I hated him. It's a him. I thought it was a girl.
I thought it was a girl.
No, because there's this joke in the game where it's like, everyone thinks he's a girl when they first meet him.
Oh yeah?
And then he's like, no, I'm a boy.
It's a little boy.
Yeah, he's like the perverted cat as well.
Oh god.
Like you've obviously... I just despise it. Mind you, do you know Teddy from Persona 4?
Don't remember.
He is Morgana is way better than Teddy. Because Teddy was the most annoying thing I've ever seen. Think of Teddy as like Mr. Meeseeks as a permanent companion.
Oh no. So it doesn't shut up.
Doesn't shut up and like super high pitched.
Fuck.
And he's like,
you know who Morgana reminds me of?
What?
Maybe it's just because I had him in... So I had Zizang in my classes for 3 years. Every single one of my classes since year 10, 11, and 12, yeah?
Yeah.
Zizang, like, he talks to rhetorical questions. Like, Mrs. Comte will be like, say something like rhetoric, yeah?
Yeah.
And he's like, I totally agree. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. He's like, shut the fuck up. Like, he's the only one who speaks up when no one speaks up in class. And it's like, you have the most obnoxious voice.
I remember one time,
but that's like when Morgana is, because she comments at like the end of battles, like, or when you do something, it's like, you got one down, Joker. And it's like,
yeah,
you don't say. You don't say.
It definitely too much talking.
Yeah.
I also don't understand, like,
I would have liked it if other characters did the same. If it was all the characters, the ones in your party that talked, like when you did something.
They do. I think Morgana more than most.
But like an actual blurb coming at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
I felt like it was always Morgana.
No, if for sure other characters do with you that. Here's the thing: if you don't have Morgana, I stopped using Morgana after I got like
Makoto. I stopped using him after Makoto.
Yeah, and then basically he doesn't talk as much because it's mainly the people within your party. But yeah, let's start off with in terms of plot with the beginning of this game, because I thought Persona 4, the biggest criticism of it is that it took forever to start.
Mm-hmm. I would say it took quite a while.
For which one?
This game.
This game started pretty quickly.
I think I'm just too used to Shin Megami Tensei where it starts from like the very beginning.
Yeah. The thing is like...
Because it took like 20 days or something. I felt like it took around 15 to 20 days just to like start the game.
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. Here's the best and worst part about Persona is that that little loading screen logo, take your time, is like the fucking ethos of the series. Like it will take its time, and it leads to like I think greater payoff because it takes its time, but it also because it means that you can like hate the villains because Kamoshida, it's not like you meet him instantly and then move off. You first get introduced to his palace, the way he views his students and the school. Then you have like several lead up meeting, and then finally the suicide attempt, and then you do something. So it's like I feel like this game, it set up the first villain really well. After that is where I have a problem. But before we move on to that, Kamoshida's palace I thought was pretty good in terms of the boss fight, the one where you have to use like Arn to distract him. I thought that was like a really cool mechanic that they like introduced into it. But for him as a character, I don't know why they started with him, or maybe it's just to start small. But this game definitely deals with a lot of like. Actually, we should start again, Hugo. So with Kamoshida's palace and in the introduction to him, you obviously first get introduced to Ryuji, who you then stumble across the palace with. Oh, sorry, before that, actually, Arn. And then that's where you meet Kamoshida first. Wait, you're actually going to have to talk me through this because this has been so long, 7 months.
No, you meet Ryuji. So you're with Ryuji in the cell.
Yeah.
In the prison cell. And then later you meet Morgana.
Yeah.
And then finally you meet Anne.
Yeah.
So that's the order it goes in.
So 2 things I want to talk about. First of all, the palace design, because this is the first time that the series has moved away from randomly generated dungeons, which I think is much better. Like the dungeons are better, but I still don't think they're that great in a lot of those cases. For instance, like Kamoshida's palace, I'd like the boss fight with him, but the like leading up to it was just like flicking a bunch of switches.
I think it definitely you're a phantom thief, but you don't exactly do anything particularly sneaky.
Yeah.
Especially because you have that hide ability.
Yeah.
Like, I never felt at some point I was exactly a thief more than just someone just coming in and killing people. Just a generic like character. And
it's almost like useless for the hide ability because I don't know about you, but like 98%, 99% of all my fights were basically me just sneaking up and ambushing.
Yeah.
It felt like you should just automatically let me ambush him because it was very rare for me to like actually, them to see me first.
I would like at some point, perhaps, because you can negotiate with the personas, and so when you're in a palace negotiating, I think at some point it should just start failing, as in like, maybe like they're onto what you're doing or something like that. Because there is a workaround on like getting past characters in that if you know their weakness, which isn't particularly hard to do, you just ambush them.
Stun.
And if you cannot defeat them in an all-out attack, which might happen with maybe the later palaces, like simply because they have physical resistance or nullification or something like that, then you can just negotiate and say, oh, give me an item. You get the item, they leave.
Yeah.
And that's just an easy way to get past so many guards.
Mm.
So I think if they made a workaround, hey, you're negotiating way too much.
If they're higher level than you, or they got like outnumber you or something,
Yeah,
they don't feel like they're gonna leave.
Yeah, maybe it's like the failure rate. They're like,
percentage.
It's like you can't negotiate with me, because the only time you can't negotiate are in mini bosses or bosses.
Yeah, I get you. But enough about that dungeon. We'll talk about the combat in a bit. What do you think about thematically? Because this game is much darker in terms of like the themes it deals with. It deals with like child abuse, like suicidal things, depression, obviously like corruption and all that stuff.
Mm.
I felt that to an extent, it felt flat with how Disney-like the characters were.
Mm.
I feel like if you're going to tackle those...
They're too jovial and happy.
Or they get over it too quickly.
Yes, that too. And like the serious scenes don't particularly feel serious, I think, because of the stylized way it is.
Yeah.
Like, it works, that stylization works in its benefit and detriment. And I think the detriment is that it's too hard to take it seriously.
Yeah, you don't take it as seriously, but to the benefit is, this is a really long game. If it was like, if the game reflected, what its story contents were in terms of like its visual look, it'd probably be too depressing to play for such a long time.
Definitely.
So I do get the trade-off. However, maybe like, do you think it handles those themes well? That's the key thing, because even though it's like cartoonish and stylized, do you think it handles it well? Does like...
Well, I think their main themes go along the lines of freedom and justice.
Yeah. Because
that's kind of what they're doing. They're trying to liberate.
Yeah.
And then all those depressing, negative themes are kind of secondary. Obviously, they're close to primary, but
right, because everyone's in a bad position, and
yeah.
It's about breaking free from whatever, whether it be stigma or like the situation of corruption.
Like the main part is obviously when they're like putting on their persona and they're like, I'm free of this, or like they're defeating a shadow and they're like, you're no longer, we're liberating you, and this is justice kind of thing, and all those other like suicide. I think. Okay, suicide I don't think is particularly strong in this one, because it only happens, at least in my playthrough, it only happened with that one girl.
Yeah, it does only happen with the one girl. But my biggest issue is that obviously in the lead up to her doing that,
it was quite short.
It was quite short, but also it's like, there is a certain shock factor, but it's shock factor that a person did it rather than you care for the person.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm.
It's not like you grew to know this person and then all of a sudden they did this and you're like, what? That came out of the blue. What's going on? You kind of have an idea what's going on, and then you have to care more by association rather than like you caring for that person. It's like, this is a terrible thing that's happened and this person shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. You care as a matter of principle rather than as a matter of actually caring for the individual. Which
there's no personal investment.
I feel like if maybe Kanoshida's had been the third or fourth palace, that way you get to know Shiho is her name.
Mm-hmm.
You get to know her in the lead up to this thing, because I don't particularly feel like there's a reason that Madarane's palace couldn't have been the first one. Or even Kanashiro's.
I feel like though, you said this in passing before, it's like, it's the first palace, and it's a good introduction to like the high school life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's no, you'll just be going through high school regularly, yeah?
Well, here's the thing. I think narratively, what is the painter guy? Yusuke. Like, he's obviously at another school. He could just have easily been at your school.
Sure. Yeah.
Same with Kanashiro. Kanashiro is also delving into contents within your school. And so you could have started off as kind of like a mystery thing, like, you know, this hidden secret that everyone has, and then unraveling it and then working with Makoto or something. The point is that the first one goes for more of an emotional gut punch, but you don't have enough time to develop that emotional connection necessarily to then
actually be a gut punch. Yeah,
you have to like feel it in terms of principle, right? But I will have you know that they're very hateable villains. And do you find every time they'll have like questions like, oh, is this the right thing to do? Because obviously changing people's hearts and the method which they go about it is like morally dubious. But I feel like there was something they could have really delved into if they, for instance, like they changed the heart of someone that they thought was evil. But then like when they changed it, it ended up becoming worse. For instance, like, I don't know.
I feel like they could have done that for perhaps like the final boss thing. If in like you finish maybe just along these lines of you finish the palace and then they become more evil, and then they take control of the mementos or something like that. Like that's what leads you to go to the mementos. Because currently at this point in time, like mementos are kind of like just existing there. There's no real reason to go after them.
I'll say this, you were scary close to the actual reason to go to mementos later on.
Oh.
Yeah. You were very close to the real reason for it.
Alright.
But,
we'll continue.
we won't say any more on that one because I don't want to spoil it. But I was like, when you said that, I was just like, shit, that was fucking close. But yeah, I just feel like the first palace shouldn't have been the first one. And if it had had a bit more build up, because the thing that I think that the game could have done better is have multiple key storylines going at once. These are kind of like separate episodes.
I feel like they shouldn't. I know this is like an anime thing. It's like you can tell who's the main character. You can tell who's like primary characters kind of thing because they obviously look a lot more different. Like Anne with the blonde hair, Miko, you know.
So Anne is like American / Finnish / part Japanese, right? Okay. So I get why she has blonde hair. What's with Ryuji's hair?
It's probably dyed. But like, you clearly know these people are going to be main characters of confidence, yeah?
Yeah.
It's like, if Shiho... I mean, you could either dull every character down a bit, or you could... make other characters like a bit of a red herring. Like, if you just made Shiho look a bit more important, she kind of just like generic female character A.
Yeah. I get what you mean. Here's the thing I like, though, in that this is kind of like an anime thing, but the reason why I don't mind it in Persona is that it's all about breaking free from the chains of society. So these are the people that are breaking free, therefore they're unique and different, and everyone else blends into the background. It's why they don't actually have... I think that the reason why, you know, when you're walking around the city, 90% of the people, unless they're like vendors or something you can interact with, are just like grayed out things because they're all stuck in society's things. So that is something that annoys me with anime, but in terms of like the theme and the reason for it like fits thematically, and that's probably the reason why I like Persona so much, is that everything, like every part of the game fits the theme, right? And they never break anything for the theme. So they never break like narrative thing, they never break gameplay stuff. It's like the red is everywhere. Even when you go to like a vendor, right? Have you noticed in the vendor how they have like different silhouettes as you go through the menus? Like it will all change.
Oh, you mean like Takemi?
Yeah, Takemi. So she'll like start here, and then, you know, one will be she'll have like a...
She'll be sitting on this side, and then she'll be sitting on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all really cool. But
I think just adding motion to those menu screens, it's like watching a video now. It's not like looking at a static screen and like a picture. Yeah. It's like looking at a GIF or a video. It's a lot more interesting.
And that actually made me like go through the menus just to check out what's the stuff for each one.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing that's actually pretty cool. As you gain more characters, particularly like the main menus, they'll change.
I did not notice that.
So, at the start, because you'll only have Morgana, Ryuji, Ann, and yourself, those will be the only 4 displayed in those menus, with whatever silhouettes and whatever combination it wants. But then as you get like your full cast, and confidants.
Mm.
And I think even at one point, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I think I remember like getting to level 10 gets like a different one as well.
Oh.
So there's a lot of like really cool, neat things that it helps like highlight progression through the thing. So it doesn't make any of the world feel static, which is great, obviously, for the menus. I would have preferred to have seen that in the world, because the world basically does not change at all throughout the entire game. Moving on, the second one is Madarame's palace.
Madarame, yep.
I actually liked his palace more than the plot for him, because be honest, I don't like Yusuke at all. I did not finish his Confidant Link, because I was just like, dude, you're so boring and uninteresting. But speaking of quickly on the Confidant Links, so I like it how every character kind of fits the stereotypes, even Ryuji at the start, and then as you go through, it tries to like expand upon it, almost as if like purposefully drawing a trap. It's kind of like a meta gaming the user, the player, right? Because it's like you thought this character was like this stereotype, but this is a game about breaking, expectations and breaking what society dubs you as and things like that. And then so it's kind of like a meta gaming of the player itself, which I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, back to Madarame's palace. I love the palace design of going into the paintings.
Oh, for sure.
That was my favorite.
And the small puzzle that when you have the like 4 giant paintings which become 5.
Yeah.
That was a bit interesting.
I got stuck there on this one thing. So you get introduced to the paintings first, and it's just like moving left. You like move left to right through it. Then there's this one where you actually have to go into the painting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So I was just like wandering left to right, going, "What the fuck do I do?"
And then you have to climb up the painting later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was just like, I got frustrated, so I just accidentally pushed the button forward, and then I appear in like another painting. I'm like, oh damn it! Come on. But yeah, seeing as you recently played this, like, what sticks out about that plotline? Because it's obviously to do with plagiarism.
Yeah, plagiarism. And Sayuri.
Because I
things. Well, I mean, notable parts of that storyline were the time when they had to get Anne to like go visit and do a nude painting.
That was
I felt like
cringe.
Yeah, it was cringe, but I felt like they could have done something more sinister with that, perhaps.
Yeah, with kind of like the
maybe it was like for Madarame.
For Madarame.
Who knows? But I didn't like the cop out when they're in the so conveniently Madarame comes back as opens the door, comes into the room, and then Yusuke follows, and then Madarame is at the door. It's like, what are you guys doing here? Like, there was no lead up towards why he should be at the place. And then afterwards is like, well, good thing I brought my phone and I called the cops already. I knew this was gonna, like, he's like, this was all part of my master plan, but he had no fucking clue this was gonna happen in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't make any sense to me as to why he suddenly unveils, like, this was my plan all along. Like, I knew you guys were going to come in this room and find this, and then, like, I've called the cops, and they won't believe me.
I love how, though, so he finds the cop, and he's going to call the cops, and then it's like, you got 14 days till you're arrested or something. I know, yeah. It's like, why don't they come right away?
Yeah.
Considerate cops. It must be why Kaneshiro got away with so much. 14 days until this guy's arrested.
Yeah. But that was a bit of a plot hole in my head.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like the palace design. Perhaps because it's the artist. That's why I love better than all the others.
Particularly like so when you first like walk into the place, right? It's got like these like Salvador Dali paintings of all the pupils that he stole and stuff off. I thought that was really creepy, and I thought
I would have liked it if in like key parts of the gallery, places where you would have spent more time, they subtly dropped hints of maybe like key pupils they could meet in a memento or like in the actual world, and then if you talk to them, there was some sort of reward in the game.
Yeah, that would be.
If they could do that in other palaces too, like perhaps in Kaneshiro, as you meet characters, like rather than the mementos being requests that people come to you for, you have to actively, like, in the palaces, make sure you find these as maybe like an Easter egg. Like in Kaneshiro's, perhaps, there's like an ATM that's broken down that you can talk to, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that, where in each palace.
That would be cool. I felt like what would have sold the museum one, because I felt like when you first do the museum one, it feels like a heist, doesn't it?
Mm.
Right? Like you're doing a proper heist.
With lasers and stuff like that.
With lasers and stuff, but also when you're entering the thing, there's all these people walking through the front entrance and you got to go through the side.
Mm.
But then it just devolves down, running down corridors.
Yeah, and hiding and ambushing.
Yeah. Obviously, you know about the casino because that's an opening segment. Oh, maybe we should have spoken about that because that's the very opening of the game.
Oh, yeah, fair, yeah.
I think that palace, actually we won't really talk about it until you finish it, but that palace, like one of the most well-designed things I've ever seen. But, actually, not one of the, but it is probably the best designed dungeon I've seen in a JRPG. Like, it is phenomenal when you get around to it. Yeah, just back to Madarame. What is his boss again? Because there's always unique bosses, isn't there?
The paintings.
Yeah.
Eyes, nose, and mouth.
Here's the thing, I didn't get... So with Kaneshiro, they had the mechanic of using Arn as bait because of his like sexual predator nature, right?
Yeah. I
didn't get what was the unique one again for Madarame. Maybe I just don't remember, but I remember just like beating him up.
Yeah, I remember, like...
I
felt like there should have been some special... I felt like they missed out on some sort of special orders for this character, for this boss, I mean. Because, I could just wail at him with my best attacks.
You know what would have been cool? Like, if they'd forced you to use, like, Yusuke, and so...
I think...
And, like, I don't know, maybe, but, like, the way to do it is, like, Yusuke would have to make, like, original paintings. Because he's about stealing and making fakes.
I'm pretty sure what they intended was... I beat him in, I think, 6 rounds, like, fairly quickly. And so his eyes are immune to magic, his mouth is immune to physical attacks.
Yeah.
And he uses the paint to make you weak to literally everything.
Yeah.
I think their goal was there would have been a special order in which you could have reflected perhaps the paint or like got the paint onto his paintings, which makes him weak to everything.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the special order, but I think you could beat him before that happens.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. I thought the design was cool. This idea of like multiple things. What I really wanted was, I feel like would have been better is if there was some sort of like positioning in combat where you can like get outmaneuvered. So if you get hit from the back, there'll be enemies behind you and in front of you. And then like maybe if you get hit from the back, you take like critical damage, so you have to change your stance. And maybe if they had these ones with like the painting and the multiple things, like they'll split up and surround you, so you have to like focus which one on which.
Alright.
But yeah, that was the most disappointing. The next one, I think, probably, which is Kaneshiro, introduces the most important character.
Makoto.
Makoto, in terms of relation to your character. Because even though Persona always has this kind of like choose who you want to fall in love with and things like that. This game is probably the first one I've played where it's like, this is prime waifu. Like you'll see it further on, but they in main cutscenes they'll clearly be pushing those two to be together. Whereas in previous ones it was always done like super generically. But
what do you think of Kaneshiro's boss?
The Banquet, I liked it actually.
Did you ever give him an item?
Yes, I did. I had to give him items.
Pussy.
I didn't have enough time, man.
Yeah. Okay.
I would die if I could. And also I had to play it safe because I did these bosses like if I failed it was over. So it's like you got to give them the item just in case. It fucking sucked me dry because sometimes like a couple of times that boss was so good because I had to give some of my like SP, like some coffee or I forgot what the other ones were. But I had to give SP items and it's like this is all I got left. But I kind of need SP as well. So I had this like super tense like trade-off where I'd just be sitting there in front of the thing for like minutes on end. Just like, and then eventually being like, I gotta give it. Like being stubborn. Like somehow if I stare at the screen, like he's gonna stop or something like that. But I thought his was a great one. I also like the unlocking the bank vault section right before the end. and I thought it was unique in terms of his bank. His bank is like in the sky, but then I thought it turned. They could have done like something much more unique with getting to the place. You know, what do you think about this whole like having to do things in the real world and then affecting the cognitive world? Remind me what you need to do to get the ramp to descend. You need to like confront him in real life, I think.
Yeah, you do need to confront him in real life, and that's when he takes the photos of you guys.
And then that's when you can access the bank.
Yeah.
But I felt like there's so many. What it does is it basically takes away the cool factor of it being in the sky. Like if it's in the sky, you might have had to do. You know, I get that it kind of makes sense, and he's now aware of you, and you're now in his debt. Therefore, you're allowed in his bank. But, you know, within the cognitive world, or maybe even within the real world, it kind of like eliminated options. Because eventually what it became is just unlocking a door, effectively, rather than just like, this is a thing in the sky, how the fuck am I going to get to it?
I wish in the level design they put a lot more, I guess, difficulty, as in, or perhaps more...
Interactivity,
yeah. Because it's like, everything's self-explanatory. The game really leads you on where you have to go.
Yeah.
Like, there's no incentive to explore.
Maybe for just, like, items?
I mean, but even then, everything's kind of laid out for you very simplistically. There's no, like in the bank here, let's say, like, if you could explore literally everywhere in the bank, yeah? But only, like, half of it is actually for the actual level design. The other half is perhaps, you know, separated into... shortcuts or like interactive parts, something else. Like maybe like I feel like they should make lockpicks instead of for chests. They should make lockpicks like a crucial item just to get through the level, perhaps.
Yeah.
So like if you run out, then you're fucked. You can't get through the rest of this palace in this day. Because then you might have wasted time looking through the reception area, which is completely redundant, instead of going up this hole and further on.
Yeah, I get you.
If they put more choices in the palaces rather than just leading you through, might have been a bit more interesting.
What do you think about... So Makoto, I think, has the best reveal of her persona out of any... maybe another character later on, but her one obviously ties in a lot more with the main plot. And she just kind of like loses her shit at the front of the bank. I thought like after she kicked everyone's ass, you were then just going to take out that guy right then and there.
Oh yeah.
But then all of a sudden you just like escape and then you have to come back later, which I thought was a bit weird.
It's like you defeated his guards and then you let him run away.
Yeah, or like why not just go straight to the vault then? And then, you know, case the entire joint, but no. Because it seemed like you just eradicated all security. Either way. And now you're finally in Mementos, right? That's the last real thing we need to talk about, which we already did a bit. And that's the most disappointing part of the game. It's just a grind.
Yeah.
There's nothing really unique about it other than if you stay long enough, you face the Reaper. Are you going to fight the Reaper?
Not now.
No?
Not now. He was way too high level for my level 26 characters.
Actually, what level do you think you'd be at?
Probably 80. Yeah. Am I right?
Maybe just do it before the final confrontation.
Yeah.
What do you what do you think of the Velvet Room? Obviously, that's the connecting things. There's a few connecting things between all personas, and one of them's the Velvet Room.
I wish you could see the other characters in the Velvet Room. Like, or if you because every other prison cell's empty, and you're all alone. Yeah. Maybe if later in the game you find out you're not the only one. Maybe something along those lines. It'll be quite interesting.
It'd be weird, yeah, because here's the thing: the Velvet Room's always different. So, like Persona 4, it was this like nice, you know, basically inside of a limousine. It felt like, whereas in this one, it's like a cell, and I suppose it's meant to reflect the character's psyche. And Carrie, I think, is snuffed someone out. But my biggest issue with it is that throughout the game, it's still always a cell. It's like if you're doing all these things, surely your character's psyche itself might change.
I'm being called.
But it's like constantly the same.
Yeah. Hello? Hello? Oh, you're here. Alright, I'm recording some stuff with Laxman. I'll open the door for you.
Just hang on with us for a moment. Just opening the door. Oh, who's arrived?
Tim.
Tim, alright.
Yeah.
I get to finally meet Tim.
You've met him once before.
Have I really?
Yes.
Was he at, like, your party or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, so where were we at?
Memento. After Repo.
Oh, no, the Velvet Room.
A Velvet Room, true.
Yeah. So what do you... I was disappointed that it never changes or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, again, when you're saying, like, that people appear in your thing, you're not far off for something later as well.
So at the end of the game, they all appear.
Something like that. You'll see it eventually. But, what do you think, like... I think I already told you that there's a twist before, haven't I, with the Velvet Room?
No.
Okay, I won't comment on anything. I'll just ask you, like, have you noticed anything weird about it? Like, you played previous Personas, like, have you noticed anything strange?
No, I feel like I should notice something strange in this stupid game. But then, no, I don't remember.
God, really? Because, like, when I played the game...
I didn't play previous Personas, I played previous Shin Megami Tensei, and they don't have the Velvet Room.
But do they have Igor?
No Igor.
Okay. Because when I played the game, I was like, wait a minute, Igor's voice actors changed.
Okay.
Now, like,
I wouldn't notice that at all.
and another one was, like, with the two little girls,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, the eye patches and stuff. You know, how, like, they're all both missing one eye?
Yeah.
I'll just give you a hint that there's, like, a lot of symbolism, and everything about the Velvet Room is purposefully, like, if you think something's weird about the Velvet Room,
Mm-hmm.
it's purposefully done that way.
Okay.
I think it's one of the better parts in terms of, like, narrative setup
Mm-hmm.
they've ever had in the game. Now on to, we'll talk more, because obviously we spoke about what I like, narrative and story.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the deep game mechanics, because you've explored them a lot more than I have.
Well, it's mainly the Personas, like,
Yeah.
and for me, the enjoyment in this game comes from making the perfect Persona.
Because, like, I get the Personas, obviously, you just need to have the level, one, which requires grinding, and two, you need the right combination, which is basically, like, recipe cookbook, go out, get the food at the grocery store, which is Mementos, and then come back and, like, create whichever one you want. So I think that's pretty basic and self-explanatory. But tell me about this, like, min-maxing stuff.
Well, min-maxing in the game would just be making sure you have crucial social stat points at crucial points of time. So, for example, I made sure, because I felt like with Guts, I felt like that would be endgame content. As in, I'll need Guts for endgame. So I've been maxing that maybe half as much as I've been doing like knowledge or something else. Because I felt for knowledge, a lot more characters. I mean, it panned out well for me because I got Makoto a lot earlier than you did.
Yeah. Because I only started, like, doing the knowledge stuff basically when exams would roll around.
Exactly. But, like, I felt like it was a bit of a trap. Like,
I wasn't a studious student as Hugo.
No. It was like, knowledge is coming in daily for you. But I felt for sure that there is at some point in time when knowledge is going to come in handy, and just doing exams and doing tests is nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
So as soon as I found hot coffee, and I'm like, this gives 3 knowledge.
Wait, you're serious? What?
Yeah, you go on rainy days you have to go on days where it's not busy.
Doesn't
it make sense? You're studying.
Oh, studying at the place.
You're studying somewhere. If it's
quiet.
quiet,
The diner or something.
Yeah, you're studying the diner. If it's quiet, it makes sense you would get more. Like, so every time it started raining, or like I predicted, okay, I don't think it's busy today because of this
Yeah.
X reason, yeah?
Yeah.
Then I'll go there, get a hot coffee. I'll get my three knowledge and one guts.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember, because if you go to the library,
yeah,
there's like you automatically get whatever amount of knowledge. I think it's extra if it's raining or something. You get extra knowledge for whatever.
I don't actually go to the library because...
Oh, because you get extra guts at the library as well.
Well,
you get knowledge and
hot
guts.
coffee has worked out for me as 3 knowledge and 1 guts.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that in the evening.
Yeah.
And you got to know that after school is the most crucial time for confidence.
The actual, yeah, true that.
So, like...
The best one, I think, for doing it is, like, with video games.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually get, like, a TV, and then you can get, like, a gaming system. And you can go get games for it. And those things give, like, huge boosts. And then, like, you can also get, like, DVD players that as well. So, like, that stuff actually gives you a fair amount of boost. So...
Did you ever do the plants?
Fuck, no.
You know they give the biggest kindness boost.
Yeah, true. But I don't think kindness was ever an issue for me.
Really? I haven't gotten kindness from anywhere other than the plants so far. I mean, other than like minor things, like 1 or 2 kind of things. Well, plants have been consistent for me, as in giving plus because the first half of the game, so up until maybe like a month ago in the game, if you have the bionutrients, which give +2,
yeah,
and then as soon as you unlock the red Shinjuku, you can get mega fertilizer, which is +3.
Oh, okay. I think what I did for that kindness, if you go to the flower shop for your part-time job, I know there are other jobs you can do, but if you go to the flower shop, there's like a mini game where the customer will describe what they want, and then if you like pick the right flowers to give them, they'll give you like +3 most of the time. Plus you get a bit of money. So I'm like, that's pretty decent. Now, how have you gone about like maximizing your confidence stats? Because obviously when you have to do a certain amount of, I don't know what they're called, they're like musical notes that appear out of their head, right? Yeah. You have to get a certain amount of them, then it's like your thing will increase. But if you take them to like special locations and you do special like activities, you can get further, but also it'll give you like dialogue options, and then you got to pick the right one for that person to then get them like even more. So
I feel like I've been lucky with An.
An is the easiest one.
Yeah.
I also thought because it's like pretty predictable what you're going to say.
I fucked up with Ryuji. Like I should have had him maxed out way earlier than I should. I've already told you about that. But
yeah. I hated him. I would personally I wouldn't say nice shit because he would fuck up so many times.
Yeah.
Like with Makoto as well. He's like yelling about how like they're phantom thieves to like the world, and then they like she overhears, and I was just like, I hate you so much, man. Like you're such a dumbass. Okay. He's like, look at all the babes we can get with being phantom thieves. Like I want to tell everyone. It's like I don't want to go to jail, man.
But I personally feel with the confident acting, you kind of just got to play to their. I mean, it's the stereotype breaking free.
Kiss ass, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like with with the politician, you really ought to like be on his side. Like, I don't believe them. You ought to be like, I don't care about your past anymore. It's about who you are now. Kind of like you really got to kiss ass and like.
The best one ever is like, did you have that scene with An where you go to the park and she's like, insult me? Oh, that'll make me get stronger.
I vaguely remember that.
I was like, it was so cringeworthy. But I always felt like the easiest way, so you would never have to, I always found that I would never have to actually like spend extra time with people, like more than necessary. So what you do is you'd get the confidant rank, say level 2, then all I would need to do is spend one more moment with her, and then I'd be able to get to level 3, because you combine it with the gifts, right?
Oh, I've not done gifts.
Gifts are so good. Like gifts give you +3, plus whatever.
Do gifts,
you have to obviously select the right gift for the right person.
They don't take like an extra. Oh no, it's just like supplementary. No. Okay.
So what will happen is like you're just going through your regular thing, and then at the end of the thing, a menu will pop up with like a gift to just give up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take any extra time. So you can get like +6 rather than +3, which basically saves you a session.
I totally haven't been doing that.
Well, that's something you should get on. Though they do cost quite a bit. There's some like...
I've got 300k and I'm this far into the game.
Dude, Arn is like so vain. You basically have to get a like jewelry and shit. That's expensive. I got a diamond like a necklace at the end, and it's like +3 only. I was just like, oh god, there's 500k down the drain. No.
Who was the character? I totally forgot. I forgot what I was going to say before this.
Okay. Who else is there? So I didn't actually get far around to the politician, but how's his story arc like?
Well, as I said before, it's pretty like corrupt politician, obviously trying to make society better, but obviously society won't accept him because it's been previously corrupt.
Yeah.
So I've only gotten to like rank 5, I think, and as far as that's gone, it's just holding the placard, being on his side, going to, I think, a meeting with him and someone more important.
Yeah. And
then you having to be like a kiss off at that point, being like, no, he's a good guy. It's like, I would honestly like to see him like be able to bring him into the palaces and just see what his confident his persona would be.
Yeah.
But
obviously,
he's not particularly useful aside from negotiations.
Yeah, I think you've already met. I think the biggest issue with the confidants in general is that some are more important than others. Like, you met Hifumi at the church, right?
No.
Okay, don't worry then. You'll meet her soon. But there are certain confidants that you've yet to meet that are just better. Like, the bonuses they give are just straight up. Way better. So if you, in terms of like a gameplay aspect, the game kind of like pushes you away from... So you met the reporter, right? Like, her story arc, I think, is one of the better ones, and it's one of the more interesting ones. But in terms of like the gameplay reward, I feel like some players might be drawn to, say, less interesting story arcs because of the gameplay reward, rather than like and you might miss out on the story aspect of it. And you've also met the like fortune teller, right? Yeah. Shithouse rewards.
Shithouse.
Yeah, it's like, I'll predict the future with like the weather. I'm just like, alright, fuck off. Yeah. I don't want this. But I feel like that's like a core problem within the confidants, is that they're not all weighted equally. So like negotiations is great, right? But then, you know, with Ouya, it's like, it sounds like what's that Google gaming device? The Ouya. Her ones are like, what is it? Reduce. She like writes pieces or something for you.
Dude, I've only got rank 1.
Oh, well, she can like write these pieces and stuff for you, which I never use because I never needed them.
I wish the combat confidence, so Anne, Makoto, and Ryuji had something different to each one.
Yeah, they're all fairly similar.
It goes baton pass, follow up, and then like a death blow kind of thing. And
then the ultimate eventually,
Yeah, it's all, aside from Yusuke, and his is just, hey, I can create some cards for you. Want to play some Yuki? See, this is what it is. Like, hey, I'll make some cards.
Isn't it like you can copy abilities?
Yes, so you can copy the skill cards if you have an empty card. Like that. That's something pretty cool for his character. And he's a combat character.
Have you used it though? Because like I felt like abilities just came so quickly, and because of the way in which you're like killing personas, getting new one.
Itemizing.
Like, abilities were just going left and right. It basically became redundant because you're never going to keep a persona long enough for you to need a card to use on them, right?
Of course. And there's inherited skills. No, for sure. But I think that plays into his character. Yeah. That's an ability that plays into his character. And Ryuji, Makoto, none of them have...
Makoto's like administration. She like taxes her party members. Yeah, extra income. Got to pull your weight. Nah. I get. What would you think like Arn's would be though? Seduction, yeah. But that would kind of like go out of the whole anti... Oh yeah, that's the one thing. So with Arn, you've gone level 10 with Arn, right?
Slowly. Making my way.
Where are you at? Level 8, 9, 7?
I think 7.
Okay. So you've already been introduced to her like whole modelling thing.
Oh yeah.
So my whole stick with Arn's entire plotline is this. She gets targeted because of her looks at the beginning, right? And so she doesn't want to be sexualized, right? And then the whole point of her like catsuit is that deep down she does like she wants to let it out, but she doesn't want to get abused, right? So even though she like doesn't, she like secretly, she wants it in basically in moderation.
Yeah.
Like as a normal person. But then it's all about like breaking part. Like her story at the beginning is about breaking past being like a shallow, just only about looks sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And then she's in the modeling industry,
yeah.
which is literally about the most shallow, all about your looks, and it's all about like, oh, I got to be a better model. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta make my looks better. And it's like, your whole arc is about hating, you should be judged based on your superficial things and being taken advantage of because of like the superficial look of yourself. And then you just delve right back into being superficial. And I was just like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
100% agree.
I was just like, it actually irks me when doing it. But, yeah, what was I talking about before?
Character.
Oh, right. Like, what each character could potentially have.
Oh.
Like, Ryuji might have, like, a always attack first ability. Like, if you get into level 8 or 9 or 10, it means that your party always gets the first shot in. With Arn, it could be, I don't know, maybe if she had done something besides modeling, it could have been whatever that ability, whatever that led into. Makoto could have had plenty. She's got, like, some form of, like, because she's school president.
She could have made your school life so much easier.
Or like buffs, right? Like buffs in battle because she's like a leader of the school. But then they would kind of cut in on what Joker is. What do you think of Joker as a character? Because obviously it's like a blank slate sort of thing.
Well, he's meant to be played like a Joker, like a wild card. Kind of, he can be anything he wants.
Right.
As far as the character goes, no. But as far as like his persona, like because he can have any persona.
Yeah.
That's so. By virtue of that, it's like he can be what he wants.
Yeah.
But he's not really starting from a clean slate. He's starting from, hey, you assaulted this dude. Like his story, as far as his story goes, like you're starting as someone wrongly accused.
Oh, you've already met that guy, right? The guy who assaulted you.
No.
Yeah, you would have. Because you know how you go to the party, you guys go out after your first one, I guess Kamoshida. You like sell it all and you go to the buffet.
Oh yeah.
And you guys are like up there.
Yeah.
Have you met like Goro Ketchi yet?
No.
Oh, no. Never mind. I forget when things like.
Fair enough.
But yeah, you certainly met that guy again. I felt like they were a bit too on the nose. Obviously, you don't remember, but you meet him again, and they like explain that he's like some big shot and whatever, and they were like too on the nose as to where the plot is going.
Oh, as in he's the final boss.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it makes sense.
And then it's like, for some reason, your character doesn't remember. Like your character's like, I've seen him from somewhere. I don't know where. And then it's literally like, so you see him this early on, and you see like various things, tidbits about the game, and then only at like the end, like towards the end of the game, does he realize like, oh, he's the guy that I assaulted earlier on.
Oh no.
And it was just like, no, come on, man. But yeah, I think probably wrap it up there unless there's anything else you want to touch on.
No, I think it's all good for now.
Dude, we'll have like one last complete spoiler film because it's weird talking about the plot when there are certain things that like the game puts down for later, earlier on, like routes that the game does for later on. And I want to talk to you about because you can obviously get different endings, you know, if you get the bad ending or the good ending or something like that.
Should I continue playing this game easy or should I go into hard?
I'd recommend going up. I'd also recommend, you know, doing the only 2 days before you go in and you got one shot.
Oh.
And that way, like, you're thinking so hard and you get to the boss and you're just like, all right, let's do this. Or maybe for the sake of time, because I do agree that it is a bit tedious going through a lot of the palaces. Particularly, they all have these like corridor sections where you're just running down corridors, finding where to go. Do that on easy, then just ramp it up for the boss fight.
Alright.
Like when you do the final one on hard, and then feel the tension. And then if you fail it and you're going to get a bad ending, just like go back to your previous save, like you said you would.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Thanks, Hugo.
No worries.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.